Woo-wee, what's going on YouTube? It's Donnie B all day. Rocking the Pistol Pete shirt. Oh yeah, hold on a second. Hold on a second. I gotta rock this Pistol Pete shirt. Oh yeah. You know, in order to be a Pistol Pete shirt, you gotta have big arms. So that's how we do. So listen, I got a cool one today. It's gonna be a fun one anyway. I don't know how cool it is. It's gonna be a fun video for me. Because I'm about to smash some blades against some stuff. So I wanted to do, let me just take them out here. I wanted to do a video between the styled Japanese Tanto to the American Bowie style. Now here's the thing, this one's not made in Japan and this one's not made in America, but this is the classic American Bowie style. This is the classic Japanese Tanto style. And the reason I wanted to do this is because basically this knife is this knife to a samurai, right? This is their extra, their do-all. It's also their hara-kiri knife, but it's their it's that extra blade that they had, and this would have been the kind of thing that they used for their camp knife, right? This would have been their, you know, I'm gonna cut up some food while out in the trail, because samurai went by horseback and they had to camp out and things like that. So they had to have that knife, and they didn't carry a 4th or 5th or 6th knife unless it was like a little tiny guy, like the Higo no Kami. And then obviously this was the ultimate camp slash fighting, self-defense slash cooking, everything knife that the cowboy had to carry. And I chose these two for a reason. I wanted them to be fairly similar in quality, and I didn't want one to be so far above the other that it made a huge difference, you know what I mean? So I went with one of my all-time favorites, the Cisco high carbon Bowie, and yes, this one I modified clearly, and you can see it's not all that thick. It's actually thinner than by half than the Tanto, but I have a lot of faith in this knife because this knife is awesome, and I have done more work with this knife than most people ever will. This one is a United Cutlery. So when I say budget, this one is like 15 bucks, and this one's still around 100 bucks. So this one's not really considered budget, but when it's considered, when I compare it to other Tantos, like good Tantos, then I would consider this more of a budget Tanto. Even though I have to say, it's really, it wouldn't be fair. If I took this against like the Ridge Runner or something like that, it just wouldn't be fair. This is way better, way better. But this, even though it's straight up budget, this is just awesome, man. This is way, way underrated. So that's why I have these two as my choices. First, let's get into just overall feel and balance. Now, obviously, the Bowie is going to be thicker in the belly, so it's going to have a wider. Oh, the wind is starting to kick up, y'all. It's going to just have a wider stance and this and that, so it's going to be made to come down. It's going to be made to chop. Or this guy is made more of a pokey kind of thing. As far as balance, I mean, this thing is made. Every Bowie is a fighting knife first. It's a fighting knife first, but it was also the one-all, do-all camp knife for the cowboy, because they didn't want to carry a bunch of stuff if you're only going by one horse. If you have a carriage, yeah, you can bring all kinds of crap. But generally for the cowboy on the trail, they carried one tool, and that was it, besides their rifle or their handgun. So this one, I mean, come on, man, it's a Japanese style Tanto. This thing is balanced so well. It's got this beautiful feel, just freaking awesome as far as in the hand how it's going to turn. So that considered, both of these are going to be very, very well. And remember, this is a fighting knife first, so they're kind of built in the same way. They're made to be able to do just about everything, but they were built in for like a main reason. That main reason is going to be self-defense, but that doesn't mean that's all they're good for. So let's go find out what else. All right, so let's do some balance in the drops, and we'll see how each one goes. I have to hold it a little bit different because it's 4 feet, a drop 4 feet from the tip to the stump, not 4 feet from my hand. So I have to hold this one a little higher, clearly. and it's going to drop straight. Uh-oh, as is this one, except the guards hit each other. But they're going to drop pretty straight. Now this guard, just from being hit by that guard, it took like a little chunk out of it right here. And there's slight loosening. For the first time, I did testing on this blade where I put it through some crazy abuse. Listen. And nothing loosened. This thing has been tight the entire time, and that's one of the reasons I thought this would be really good. But this Bowie, which I did, so nothing is loosening. You could even see where it hit right here because it's a little shiny spot in the brass. This thing hit like this and absolutely loosened up this one because this is a big, heavy knife, right? All right, so now edge to edge is kind of unfair because they're both used edges, and I didn't hone them, I didn't sharpen them, I did nothing. But let's see how a used edge on each knife is going to perform, right? The Bowie is made just to be a big, strong, powerful edge. Let's see, this one I have been using, and it is not sharp right now. Actually, it could really use a sharpening. I have been using the snot out of this. I use it actually more than you'd ever guess. With all the knives I have, I for some reason continue to pull this guy out. This one I don't use that much, so who knows, maybe, let's see. It's gonna be a little bit sharper, but still, I have never once sharpened this edge from using it. And you can see this thing has got some wear and tear on it, just a little bit. So used edge for used edge, they both need a little sharpening. Are they good enough to get through this? That was clearly a yes. And that was clearly a yes. Neither are going to take damage going through something like that. Ugh. But both are going to do the job. Let's do a downward stab, and we'll see what we can get for bite. Now this is a very narrow blade, so oh wow, I just totally took out the side of my stump. I have to go more toward the center. There's that. And this is a swedged tip, so it should dig in really nice, but I'm guessing that's going to have a little bit more of a stick. So we went about 1.5 inches, somewhere in there, on the Bowie. This one is really freaking in there. And we went about 2 inches on the Tanto. So it's definitely going to dig in a little bit more. Just what it is. Let's see about batoning. I know a lot of people don't think you can baton with a Tanto, but when you're D-bad, you'll baton with your mother's ankle. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to baton anything because I don't care. This one right here, I know the Cisco high carbon Bowie, I can smash and bash all day long, and it's tearing through knots, and it's gonna go through because it's the freaking Cisco high carbon Bowie. Yes, you can find this sub $20. Yes, it's worth it all day, every freaking day. All right, the Tanto. Let's see what we can do with this guy. Now, you don't ever see anybody batoning with a Tanto, but that doesn't mean it can't be done. Let's see if I can get a little bit more. There we go. It definitely doesn't mean it can't be done. It does just freaking fine. I missed. I mean, I'm surprised everything here is on really tight, where this is just a little bit loose. It really surprises me that everything else is tight. That's kind of crazy. But if you're going to have handle loosening, you're going to have it more likely in a Tanto than you are in a Bowie, just because of the way they're built. This one I know is built well because I did it. It's all JB welded. I improved the pins by making bigger holes, and then you can see I made them so smooth that you cannot feel where the pin is and the handle. You know, I can't feel the difference. See how perfectly that is? Yeah, that's a Donnie B all day deal. but I know nothing is going to loosen here. This one, they're made to take apart and come off and this and that. So it's going to loosen. It's just going to loosen. This is held on by friction from this being held on by these little wooden pegs, little makugis. And that's just the way it is. So as far as can they both cut things? Yeah, if they're sharper, they can cut way better. You know, when this edge is brand new and when this edge is brand new, they both passed this test. But they both showed that it can do this. They both showed that they can baton. They both show that they can stab. And a lot of people think, yeah, but a Bowie is just something that you're going to carry more than a Tanto. And my question is why? If you're a lover of this knife, why can't you carry it if it can do everything this can do? For me personally, I would rather this, but it's just because of my style. But if your style is, you know, you're really into the Japanese arts and you'd rather have a Tanto as your camp knife, why can't you? And that's what I really, I'm not, this isn't a which is better. This video is going to turn into a, can this be this? Can it do the same job? So that's pretty much what we're getting at here. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a downward stab into the tire. I have more faith in this one when it comes to this, but we'll see what we can get. And of course, it does go through. No problem. It didn't go really deep, but it did go through. That one just going to sink in no problem. I mean, that one, throw a little bit of thrust into it and it's going to go. But this one is just so freaking simple. So if a lot of what you do comes down to penetration, this is going to be your go-to all day long. But what about chopping? Let's go find out. All right, so we got a nice big fat log here. And what we want to do is see if this, now I'm going to get a little bit of rattling noises most likely, maybe, because this is just a little bit loose. Doesn't really matter. It doesn't change the knife. It doesn't alter what it can do or what it can't do. It just might have an annoying little sound. But when you're talking about a knife like this, like if you look at the Cold Steel and even this one before I modified it, you tend to get movement in these brass guards and they will jiggle and make some noise too. So it's pretty much fair game. All right, but let's see. Let's see here. Now I'm just doing easy strikes. I'm not winding up. I'm just letting the knife do the work. And the knife is doing the work. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do, right? I got pieces flying inside of me. It's just a Bowie. And a Bowie is really, really good being built for, oh man, these pieces are just flying at me, for doing stuff like this. I mean, this knife is all freaking day long. I know this because I use this all the darn time. I said darn, imagine that. I might be getting better, guys. All right, so let's see if I can't just stick this somewhere. I'll put it over here. Put it over there. Now, chopping with a Tanto. And look at this. Now, why this is going to be an effective chopper without having a belly is because of the length. It's got a long, narrow blade, and because of that, you were able to get momentum toward the front, and even there, I even hit with the rear, right? Look at this, I'm hitting back here, and because of the weight distribution, this thing still chops. It chops like a madness too. So here's the deal. You can take a Japanese style Tanto, you can get out, you can baton, you can feather stick. Let's see. You can do all of your camp stuff with this blade. Let's see. And do it with the same kind of ease as you would do it with one of those. The difference is you're going to have better penetration with this guy right here. As far as skinning, things like that, obviously the blades would have to be a little sharper to go over that, but they're gonna pretty much do the tasks the same way. If I had a longer Bowie, the same length as this, this would be a better chopper than this if this was longer. Just because it's just ergonomics is the way it works. A long blade with a big belly is going to chop like crazy. Like if I was going to use the D-Bad Old War Bowie, it would out-chop this all day long. But when you're talking about a standard Bowie size between 9 and 10 inches against a standard Tanto size, your chopping is going to be pretty freaking equal. Every single thing that this knife can do, this knife can do. So for the people out there who are giant Japanese weapons fans, but who also want to camp and do all that fun stuff and be out in the woods, why can't this be your everyday fixed knife carry? If you live in a place where you're allowed to carry a big knife, there is no reason that something like this can't be your carry. It's a fantastic working blade. And I went budget for budget. If you go ahead and get yourself a really, really good Tanto, it's going to perform like a really, really good Bowie. Now this thing, and I have proved it, this thing performs like any other $300 Bowie, and this thing is sub 20 bucks. This thing will perform all day long, and the only reason it's not sharp isn't because it doesn't hold an edge. It's because this edge has been through hell, and I haven't done anything to it yet. This edge has been through hell. I have had this for a very long time, and right now it could use to be sharpened. But if I sharpened it, I could put it against any of the big brand names all day, any day. I mean, 100%. It's that good of a knife. This guy right here, can I put it against some of the higher end Tantos? Probably. I probably could. This one's Damascus. It holds a pretty good edge. I mean, it's not shave sharp right now, but I have used it a bunch, and I haven't done anything with this edge because I don't use it near enough as I do something like this. But can I see that changing? Absolutely. I can see taking this out into the woods, you know, like I carry one of these. I would have no problems with it. I have some True Katana Tantos that I just got that I think, except the one with the white handle because it's beautiful and I don't want to get it all dirty, I can easily see myself taking one of these on a next camp excursion and using it as my absolute camp blade, doing everything with it. So when it comes down to Bowie versus Tanto or Tanto versus Bowie, it has nothing to do which one is better. What it comes down to is, can this be effective as this, the way we know this to be? You know what I mean? We know in America, this is our camp knife. This is what it is. But what's to say that that can't be also? And that's pretty much what this video comes down to. And I'm really happy to get them out here and flex the Tanto Bowie muscle, because they really, really need to be shown off together so you can understand 100% that if it knifes, it's a knife. And that's all that matters. It has no bearing on who makes it, where it's made, what style it is, you know, who invented it, blah, 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 blah. Who cares? It doesn't matter. What matters is that the knife knifes. Budget, high end, it doesn't matter. And this thing, remember, this thing was sub $20 and this thing was around $100, somewhere in there between 70 and 100, and they performed equally. They both stabbed the tire, they both cut the extension cord, they both baton, they both chop. It doesn't freaking matter. So if you're wondering, if you live in a place where you're allowed to carry a big fixed blade, if you're wondering, can I carry a Tanto and can it be worth carrying? This one even comes with a leather sheath that has a belt loop, so you can actually carry on a belt just like this. If your thoughts are, can it be done? Can it work? Can I survive? If I get stuck somewhere, is this going to be the knife that's going to help me stay alive? Abso-freaking-lutely. No holds barred. I mean, just two very, very evenly distributed pieces of working knives. It's just what they are. So that's it for that. You got a little bit of verses where there's no winner, there's no loser, and that's the best thing when it comes to knives, is you want to know that the knifes. You don't want to. It has nothing to do with which one's better than the other one. You just want to know that yes, my knife can knife. That's it. Speaking of knives, I am not a knife. I am Donnie B all day. Until next knife.